I never thought a single tube of mascara could change my life. Honestly, I didn't even realize it was dangerous. At least, not in the sense that it could unravel the carefully balanced little world I had built for myself. My name is Eric, and on the surface, I was just your typical 26-year-old graphic designer, living in a tiny but cozy apartment in the heart of the city. My life ran on predictability. Wake up, coffee, work on screens, avoid social chaos, repeat. But underneath all that, there was a part of me that lived entirely in secrecy, a side I only allowed myself to explore when I was alone, in the quiet sanctuary of my apartment. Ever since I can remember, clothes fascinated me. Not just fashion in a general sense, but the transformative power they held. The way a simple outfit, carefully chosen, could make someone feel utterly different. For me, that fascination took the form of crossdressing. At first, it was innocent experimentation, slipping on a scarf here, trying out a borrowed jacket there, but over time, it evolved into something far more intimate. It wasn't about performance or exhibition. It was about understanding myself. In those private moments, I wasn't Eric, the reserved designer who avoided unnecessary attention. I was Eresis, or more accurately, the version of myself that existed when I let go, the version that could walk through life lighter, softer, unafraid. Yet, even as I embraced this part of myself, I lived in constant tension. Society wasn't exactly kind to men who dressed like women, and though I had no intention of showing anyone, the fear of being discovered loomed like a storm cloud over every quiet experiment in my apartment. That fear, oddly enough, added a thrill I could never quite resist. Then there was Isabella, my girlfriend of 2 years, the sun in my otherwise predictable orbit. She was confident, radiant, and effortlessly captivating. To anyone else, she might have seemed intimidating, but to me, she was both a challenge and a safe haven. The problem, or perhaps the allure, was that she was sharp, exceptionally sharp. She could read subtle cues, detect half-hidden emotions, and somehow always know when I was pretending, even when I thought I was invisible. With Isabella, I had to walk a tightrope between honesty and secrecy. I loved her more than I could admit aloud, but I couldn't bring myself to tell her about the side of me that existed only in silk and soft makeup brushes. My apartment was my private stage. The living room doubled as a dressing area, the bathroom a studio for face contouring, and the bedroom held racks of carefully curated clothing, mostly neutral and feminine, each piece chosen to reflect a part of the person I became when the world wasn't watching. I had shelves stacked with skincare products, tiny jars of blush, and tubes of lip gloss in every imaginable shade. Mascara, of course, was my favorite. The way it accentuated eyes, the way it made the mirror reflect someone entirely new, was intoxicating. It was a Thursday evening when everything started to unravel. Isabella was out for a late dinner with her colleagues, which meant I had the apartment entirely to myself. The lights were dimmed just right, soft jazz hummed from the speakers, and the faint scent of vanilla from a burning candle filled the air. I had decided it was finally time to try something new, a bold, smoky eye look I had bookmarked weeks ago. Sitting on the edge of the sofa, I held the mascara wand, feeling the cool plastic between my fingers. Heart racing, I whispered a soft affirmation to myself, like a secret chant only I could hear. Just this once, Eresis. Just this once. I started applying the mascara, delicately brushing my lashes upwards, watching in the mirror as my eyes transformed. The reflection staring back at me was mesmerizing, my blue-gray eyes framed by long, dark lashes, lips slightly fuller from the subtle tint of gloss, cheeks softly blushing from careful contouring. I felt powerful, delicate, and alive all at once. A smile tugged at my lips, a mixture of triumph and sheer disbelief. I looked perfect. For a fleeting moment, the real world didn't exist. There was only me and the version of myself I had always wanted to show, even if it was only to my own reflection. But then, of course, reality crept in. A faint noise, a key turning in the lock, a creak from the hallway, snapped me out of my private reverie. My pulse skyrocketed. Isabella? She was supposed to be out. My hand trembled as I set down the mascara, my mind racing with possibilities. Whoever it was, they couldn't see me like this. Not yet. Not ever. And then the sound came again. Footsteps, deliberate and slow, moving toward the apartment door. My sanctuary was about to be invaded. I barely had time to throw a light cardigan over my shoulders before the door swung open. But it wasn't Isabella. It was Jenna, my next-door neighbor. She lived alone and sometimes borrowed sugar, coffee, or just stopped by to chat. Normally harmless. But tonight, her timing couldn't have been worse. "Eric? Hey, I needed a cup of sugar," she started, stepping in without waiting for an invitation. My heart pounded. I could feel every beat echoing in my chest as she glanced around. That glance, innocent as it seemed, landed squarely on me, mascara still wet on my lashes. And that was it, the moment that would change everything. Jenna's eyes widened, and the corners of her lips twitched, a mix of amusement and surprise. I wanted to disappear. I wanted to rewind time. I wanted anything but what was happening. And yet, somewhere in the panic, I felt a strange thrill. Someone had finally seen me, really seen me, and the world, as I knew it, was about to tilt on its axis. Little did I know, that single moment, being caught with mascara in hand, would not be the end of my secret life. It would be the beginning of something much larger, something I could neither control nor predict. And it would force me to confront a reality I had only ever dreamed of, the possibility that my secret could no longer remain hidden. The moment Jenna stepped into my apartment, the air seemed to thicken. My heart thumped like a drum in my chest, threatening to betray me. She froze mid-step, her eyes widening as they landed on me. On Erissus, not Eric. Mascara-streaked lashes, soft blush on my cheeks, lips slightly glossed, cardigan draped loosely over my shoulders. It was intimate, delicate, and terrifying all at once. "Oh, wow," Jenna whispered, her voice catching somewhere between amusement and shock. You look different." Different. A simple word, yet it carried the weight of 1,000 judgments. Panic clawed at me, and instinctively, I covered my face with my hands, as if hiding behind them could erase the image she'd just seen. It's nothing," I stammered, my voice cracking. Just messing around." But deep down, I knew it wasn't nothing. Every brush of mascara, every stroke of blush, every soft fold of my cardigan told a story that had been hidden for years. And now that story had a witness. Jenna tilted her head, a mischievous smile forming. "Messing around, huh? Well, you've got skills." Her words sent a strange shiver down my spine, half shame, half thrill. She wasn't mocking me. She wasn't judging me. There was curiosity there, maybe even admiration. My pulse quickened as I realized that, for the first time, someone outside of my secret world was seeing me not as Eric, the timid guy next door, but as Erissus. I swallowed hard. I just like experimenting. It's personal." Her smile widened. "I get it. Really. It's kind of amazing." Then, after a pause, she added lightly, "You know, if you ever wanted to teach me a thing or two, I wouldn't mind." My head nearly spun. Teach? Was she serious? Did she understand what she was asking? My cheeks flushed hotter than the blush I had applied. Every nerve in my body screamed both excitement and terror. The thought of sharing this part of myself with someone else, especially someone so bold and confident, was simultaneously alluring and frightening. I laughed nervously, trying to mask my internal storm. "Teach, huh? I don't know if I'm ready for that." But even as I said it, part of me ached at the idea. To finally be seen, to guide someone into this hidden world, it was a temptation I could barely resist. Jenna, sensing my hesitation, leaned casually against the doorframe, arms crossed. "Hey, no pressure. But you're good at it. Really good. I can tell you enjoy it." The words struck a chord. I had always thought of my crossdressing as a solitary escape, a secret indulgence, a private sanctuary. But what if it could be more than that? What if it could be shared, even celebrated? My mind raced, imagining what it would feel like to teach someone else, to hold their hand as they learn the thrill of transformation, the delicate power of makeup, the subtle art of clothing that could shift perception. But before I could respond, another noise shattered the fragile moment, the sound of a key in the lock. My stomach dropped. Isabella. She wasn't supposed to be home for another hour. My entire body froze, caught between panic and the undeniable thrill of being discovered. Jenna's eyes widened. Maybe I should go?" she whispered. "Yes. Please," I hissed, trying to control the tremor in my voice. I scrambled to hide the mascara, toss the cardigan back onto the sofa, and shove other items out of sight. But it was too late. The sound of Isabella's keys in the hallway had already set my nerves ablaze. "Eric? Are you home?" Isabella's voice floated through the door, casual but sharp, and my heart lurched. I had never felt so exposed, so vulnerable. I could feel every beat of my pulse in my temples, my hands shaking as I tried to compose myself. Jenna froze, eyes darting toward the door, then back at me. "Wow, this is intense," she murmured, clearly entertained and slightly scandalized. I managed a weak laugh. "Yeah, intense," I agreed, my voice betraying more fear than I wanted. The seconds stretched into an eternity as Isabella entered. "Eric?" she said again, stepping inside, oblivious to Jenna and the scene that had just unfolded. Her eyes narrowed slightly, scanning the apartment. "Everything okay?" "Yes, fine," I said quickly, forcing a calm I didn't feel. "Just hanging out." Isabella didn't press further, but the tension in her expression was unmistakable. And all the while, Jenna's presence added another layer of danger, a live witness to my hidden identity. Once Isabella had gone upstairs, I finally exhaled, leaning against the wall as the adrenaline slowly drained. Jenna, still hovering near the doorway, gave me a sly grin. "Well, I guess secrets don't stay hidden for long, huh?" I shook my head, half in disbelief, half in awe. Apparently not. That night, after Jenna left, I found myself unable to sleep. The adrenaline had given way to a torrent of emotions: fear, excitement, shame, and a dangerous curiosity. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, thinking about the possibility that my secret could be shared, that maybe it had to be shared if I wanted to embrace who I really was. But the fear of judgment, of losing Isabella, of everything unraveling, it weighed heavily on me. The next morning, I found myself drawn back to my sanctuary, the living room, my makeshift dressing area. The mascara sat on the coffee table, a silent reminder of the chaos it had unleashed. My fingers itched to pick it up again, to feel the familiar thrill of transformation, to become Erisys once more. And so I did. Tentatively at first, brushing my lashes, adding blush, contouring my cheeks. With each stroke, I felt the layers of Eric peel away, replaced by someone freer, lighter, more daring. By the time I looked in the mirror, I barely recognized myself. Erisys smiled back at me, confident and teasing, aware of the power she held not just over herself, but over the secrets she could reveal or conceal. It was intoxicating and dangerous. Over the next few days, life became a delicate balancing act. I navigated work, social interactions, and my relationship with Isabella with a newfound awareness of the secret hovering at the edge of my world. Every glance, every casual comment, made me wonder if someone knew, if someone could see beneath the surface. And yet, the thought of teaching someone else, showing them the thrill, the power, the confidence of transformation, kept tugging at me, whispering promises I wasn't sure I was ready to claim. Then came the first real challenge. Jenna called, asking if I could meet her later to, well, learn some tips. My heart raced at the thought. Could I do it? Could I guide someone through the intimate, vulnerable world of crossdressing without losing control, without exposing myself completely? And what would happen if Isabella found out? The tension mounted, knotting in my chest like a living thing. I was teetering on the edge of a decision that could change everything. And I knew, deep down, that once I stepped forward, there would be no going back. The following week was a storm. Every moment was edged with tension. I could barely focus at work, constantly picturing Erisys in the mirror, feeling the brush of mascara, the soft slide of blush, the way clothes hugged my body differently. And yet, the thrill of being seen, of the possibility that someone else, like Jenna, might witness it again, haunted me. Every casual glance from a coworker, every unexpected knock at the door, made my pulse spike. Jenna's invitation to learn some tips had been a spark, but it had ignited a wildfire in my mind. Could I actually guide her? Could I teach someone else to crossdress, to embrace the side of themselves they'd hidden? And even more dangerously, could I do it without Isabella finding out? The thought alone made my stomach knot. The first lesson was set for Friday evening. Jenna arrived right at 7, her casual demeanor hiding the nervous excitement I recognized all too well. She brought along a small bag, curious glances darting toward my makeup and wardrobe. "Wow, this is more than I expected," she murmured, her eyes wide. I didn't realize how much goes into it. I swallowed hard, trying to keep my voice steady. It's detailed, but it's fun, and it's empowering. We started with the basics, choosing an outfit, blending foundation, applying mascara. I guided her carefully, showing her how to sweep her lashes, how to contour subtly, how to make eyes pop without exaggerating. And with each step, I felt a surge of pride mixed with fear. Pride because I was sharing my world, fear because this world had always been mine alone. But just as the lesson reached its peak, Jenna's eyes wide, lashes long and delicate, cheeks softly blushed, there was a sudden knock on the door. My heart froze. "Eric? You home?" Isabella's voice was calm, but I knew that calm meant suspicion. I panicked, glancing at Jenna, whose eyes mirrored my terror. She whispered, "Hide me, quick." I scrambled, grabbing a long cardigan and draping it over Jenna, trying to shield her as I ushered her behind the sofa. But it wasn't enough. The sound of Isabella's footsteps drew closer. Every second stretched into eternity. My hands trembled as I tried to create a barrier between her and the evidence of my double life. "Eric, what are you doing?" Isabella's voice was sharper now, questioning, wary. She stepped into the living room. I froze. Words failed me. I could feel Erisys shimmering just beneath the surface, ready to emerge, but my fear of losing Isabella, of being rejected, held me back. Then Jenna, in her panic, sneezed loudly. The cardigan slipped slightly, revealing mascara-streaked eyes. Isabella's gaze sharpened instantly. "Eric, what is going on?" she asked, stepping closer. Her eyes flicked between me and the faint glimpse of Jenna. I could feel my throat closing, the walls of secrecy crumbling. Isabella, my voice cracked. I crossdress. That's Erisys." The silence that followed was suffocating. Isabella's eyes widened, a complex swirl of confusion, shock, and curiosity. She opened her mouth, then closed it again, processing, absorbing the revelation I had hidden for years. Jenna, sensing the gravity of the moment, whispered softly, "I didn't mean to." "It's okay," Isabella said, cutting her off gently but firmly. Her attention snapped back to me. "Eric or Erisys, why didn't you tell me?" Tears pricked my eyes. I was scared. Scared you to leave me. Scared you'd think I'm weird. I didn't want to lose you. Her expression softened slightly, and she took a cautious step closer. "Eric, you're still you. I didn't know this side existed. But I'm listening." Relief and fear collided inside me. I wanted to explode with joy, to run and hug her and confess everything. But the moment wasn't mine to control. And Jenna, still partly hidden, looked between us, unsure whether to speak or stay silent. Over the next hour, the tension slowly shifted. I showed Isabella some of the basics: mascara, blush, subtle contouring, and her reactions were astonishing. She was intrigued, playful even, but still cautious. Jenna, emboldened by my calm, peeked out from behind the sofa, her curiosity mixing with admiration. And then came the real twist. Isabella, leaning closer to inspect a blush brush, suddenly laughed softly. You know, this could be fun. If you're willing, maybe you could teach more people. Carefully, safely. There's an art to this, and you have it. My pulse leapt. Teach more people? The thought both terrified and thrilled me. My secret, once so delicate and hidden, was now being encouraged, even by Isabella herself. The room seemed to shimmer with possibility. But just as I began to relax, a loud crash came from the kitchen. Jenna had knocked over a cup in her nervous excitement. Isabella and I both turned sharply, tension snapping back into place. Eric, what else are you hiding? Isabella asked, eyes narrowing playfully, but with a spark of suspicion. I swallowed, heart hammering. Nothing. That's everything. And then Jenna, ever curious, couldn't resist. So, does this mean you want me to learn? Like, really learn? Isabella shot me a look, teasing and challenging. Well, maybe, if you're willing to guide her. The room froze. The weight of decision pressed down on me. Could I really do it? Could I embrace heiresses fully, risk exposure, and teach someone else the secrets I had guarded for so long? The stakes were higher than ever. One wrong move, one slip, one accidental discovery, and my carefully balanced life could shatter. My gaze flicked to the mirror, where heiresses stared back at me, mascara dark and glistening, lips soft, eyes wide and curious. The reflection seemed to mock me and encourage me simultaneously. It whispered promises of freedom, of expression, of daring. I took a deep breath, feeling the adrenaline surge, my body alive with anticipation. Yes, I said finally, voice steady. I'll teach you. But you have to promise to respect this, okay? Jenna's eyes lit up, and Isabella's lips curved into a knowing smile. Deal, Jenna whispered. The tension broke, replaced by a fragile exhilaration. But deep down, I knew this was only the beginning. The next steps would be dangerous, intimate, and unpredictable. And somewhere in the shadows, the possibility of being fully exposed, and the thrill that came with it, waited, ready to test every boundary I had ever set. The apartment was quiet again, but it wasn't the calm kind of quiet. It was charged, humming with the unspoken possibilities of what had just happened. Isabella had gone to the bedroom, leaving Jenna and me alone in the living room, yet the air still felt electric. Every glance at the mirror reminded me that Erisys was not just a reflection anymore. She was a presence, demanding recognition, daring me to step further into the world I had kept hidden for so long. Jenna's wide eyes were still glued to the small vanity I had set up by the sofa. I can't believe I'm seeing this, she whispered, voice trembling with excitement. It's incredible. I nodded slowly, still catching my breath, trying to reconcile the storm of emotions inside me. Pride, fear, exhilaration, shame, they all collided in my chest. It's personal, I said softly. It's a side of me I've never shared with anyone, not even Isabella, until tonight. Her expression softened, understanding dawning. And now you're letting me in, teaching me. Yes, I admit it. The word tasting like both freedom and danger. But it has to be carefully. If anyone else knew, if Isabella misunderstood, everything could collapse. Jenna nodded solemnly, though her excitement betrayed her calm facade. She glanced around, noticing the scattered brushes, the faint traces of makeup on the countertop, the small wardrobe carefully arranged with clothes. I get it. This is intimate. Special. I smiled weakly, my fingers tracing the edge of the mascara tube still on the table. It had started all of this, the catalyst for a secret life being exposed and encouraged. And yet, even as I stared at it, a shiver of doubt ran through me. What if I had pushed too far? What if Isabella suddenly changed her mind? What if my carefully guarded world spiraled out of control? Then, as if on cue, a faint creak echoed from the hallway. My heart lurched. I wasn't sure if it was Isabella returning to check on us, or someone else entirely. Perhaps a neighbor who had knocked earlier and had come back suspicious. Every nerve in my body screamed alert, every muscle tensing. Jenna noticed it too. She froze, her hands clutching the cardigan she had hastily wrapped around herself. "Did you hear that?" she whispered. "Yes," I breathed. My eyes darted toward the door. A bead of sweat trickled down my temple, and my hands shook slightly as I tried to appear calm. Eresis, my hidden persona, shimmered in the reflection of the vanity mirror, almost as if she were watching me, daring me to stay brave. Suddenly, my phone buzzed on the sofa. The notification made my heart leap, and then sink. It was a text from Isabella. "I'm downstairs. Can you come help me with something?" My pulse skyrocketed. I froze mid-breath. Jenna's eyes widened and she whispered, "Isabella, she's coming?" "Yes," I muttered, every word tasting of panic. "And I don't know what to do." The sound of footsteps on the stairs echoed through the apartment, deliberate and measured. Each step felt like a drumbeat in my chest, each one bringing the threat of exposure closer. I could feel Eresis trembling within me, the thrill of possibility and the terror of being caught intertwining into a single, potent emotion. "Eric, what now?" Jenna asked softly, her voice barely audible over the rapid thrum of my heartbeat. I didn't answer. I couldn't. My mind raced, imagining every possible scenario. Isabella walking in and misunderstanding, Jenna fleeing in panic, the mascara smudging, my carefully crafted secret unraveling in an instant. And yet, even amid the fear, a small part of me, the part that had been Eresis all along, whispered, "This is it. You're alive. You're free." The doorknob rattled. Time seemed to slow. My breath caught, my body frozen, my reflection staring back at me with wide, expectant eyes. And then the door creaked open. I froze completely, unable to move, unsure if I should run, hide, or reveal everything. The shadows in the room stretched and danced under the dim lighting, and the mirror reflected not just me, but the collision of my two worlds, Eric, cautious and fearful, and Eresis, daring and luminous. "What's going on in here?" Isabella's voice called out again, sharper this time, but tinged with curiosity rather than anger. I swallowed hard, heart pounding. The room felt smaller, tighter, like it was closing in around me. Every brushstroke of makeup, every delicate fold of clothing, every secret I had held for years now hung in the air, vulnerable, exposed, waiting for judgment. Jenna shifted behind the sofa, wide-eyed and frozen. I could see her pulse quicken, her curiosity battling her fear. And I knew, at that moment, that nothing would ever be the same again. I opened my mouth, ready to speak, ready to reveal, ready to step fully into the light, and then the screen went black in my mind. Silence fell, and the story stopped there, suspended in the perfect moment of suspense, caught, exposed, and teetering on the edge of revelation. Who would react first? Isabella, shocked and questioning. Jenna, eager and curious? Or Eric as herself, daring me to embrace this new life? The answers were still out there, waiting,